This had 20 cubic yards of aged rice hulls delivered. Just in time for that hits. Alright, so aged rice hulls and hydroponics. A lot of people think this is soil, and it's mentioned quite a bit, but I want to show you what it looks like. I'm going to take the very top here. This is nothing but the rice husk that comes off of rice during milling, and they put it in a huge pile, a lot bigger than this. And the humidity is affecting the camera. So anyway, let me come back in just a second when it quits fogging up. Alright, hopefully that's better. So anyway, yeah, that's what it looks like, and that's all it is. Now what's so great about this is, one, it's inert. There is nothing to this. It was never composted unless you call it cold composting and aging, and it is kind of a form of cold composting. Is basically it just sits in a pile until it starts to kind of brown up. Now this can sit in a pile. Aged rice hulls can sit in a pile for years and years and years, and it still will look like this, and that's because of what it's made of. I'll go in there in a computer here and show you some of what it's made of. But what makes this so good for hydroponics for me is this. You come down a little ways and this is what you get. It has great moisture retaining capability without compaction, and that makes it awesome for what I want to do it with. Hydroponics basically. And it's very similar, and I think even quite a bit better than even perlite. So because it's organic and it's reusing stuff that was created from a food source that we have to use in great abundance across the world, actually. So reusing it is awesome in my opinion. It's just renewable resources, constantly renewable. So yeah, whenever you use it in hydroponics though, you have to do what I call charging the containers, and you've got to put some nutrients, especially nitrogen, in it, and have it prepared for plants. Otherwise the plants might go on a little bit of a shock for a short period until the solution, the nutrient water, cycles through several times. So to prevent that, I charge it. Now the charging doesn't break it down or anything like that, because it's pretty much where it's going to be for a number of years. And I think maybe worms will break it down even more if it's put in soil. But anyway, it's a great thing. Let me go in there on the computer and I will show you the makeup, which is mostly lignin and silica, and why it's such a good resource.
Hello all. This is Brent, narrated. I wanted to start off with an article by John Ferguson from Nature's Way Resources. We don't collaborate. I don't know him, but his article is succinct and pretty much captures the gist of rice hulls, and I agree with it for the most part. Rice hulls have been used for thousands of years as a soil amendment in farming and gardening. Rice hulls, rice husks, are the hard protective covering of the grains of rice and are composed of lignin with a very high, 45%, silicon, Si, content. Rice hulls are the leftover product from the milling of rice to obtain the grain we eat. Worldwide there are millions of tons of rice hulls produced every year that have to be disposed of. Rice hulls are available in several forms: fresh rice hulls, boiled rice hulls, aged rice hulls, composted rice hulls, ground rice hulls, and rice hull ash. Fresh rice hulls, these are straight from the milling process, They are very lightweight and porous and often contain viable seeds. They tend to increase the pH when used as soil amendments, and in general they perform poorly until they break down. They also often attract rodents. Ground rice hulls. These are fresh rice hulls that have been ground into a powder to reduce the volume of material that must be transported and disposed of. This form is often used as a fiber source, low quality, for both human and animal food products. In this form it burns easily and is often used as a fuel, producing rice hull ash as the leftover product. They tend to increase the pH when used as soil amendment. Parboiled rice hulls. These are fresh hulls that have been sterilized by using steam and are free of seeds and pathogens that are killed by the heat. These may be combined with other amendments such as pine bark, vermiculite, etc. up to 40% by volume, and they have positive effects with respect to plant growth when used in containers. This amendment is often used in mixes for containers as it is very slow to decompose, hence there is less shrinkage of the potting media. At a soil proportion level above 40% it tends to have negative effects for most species. Aged rice hulls. This is the most common form of rice hulls one finds. The mills just pile up the hulls into very large piles and let them sit for months before disposal. This aging turns the hulls brownish. They tend to increase the pH when used as soil amendment. Above 40%, it tends to have negative effects for most species. This is the product you see at the beginning of the video. It's simply a dump truck full of aged rice hulls. What the article doesn't talk about is the functionality of this product in hydroponics, and we'll talk about that some more in a minute. Composted rice hulls. These are rice hulls that have been composted by either aerobic or anaerobic methods. Due to the high silicon content, they are very slow to break down. If aerobic methods are used, the rice hulls are mixed with other feedstocks to compost properly. They turn a dark brown color, have a lower carbon to nitrogen ratio, and the pH becomes increased slightly. Anaerobic composting is usually done by burying the rice hulls in a pit for months to years where they slowly decompose. Under these conditions, they darken, sometimes become black, and become slightly acidic. In both methods, if done correctly, the seeds are killed. Composted rice hulls work better in most applications. I depart from the article here some. For nutrient-fed hydroponics, the most important aspect of composted rice hulls, which isn't talked about in his article, is their water retention capability. Also, the difference between aged and composted hulls also isn't as clear as it seems. Aged rice hulls have also been composted, but very slowly. It's a form of cold composting. Once placed in a hydroponic environment, the composting increases some and the hulls will become more water retentive and break apart more. However, they are still usable, from my experience, for at least 2 full years. I doubt many people could even tell they've broken down much as the particles mix in the structure so well. They are very durable, and I'm quite certain they can be piled, exposed to the elements again, and be reused even longer once salts have been rinsed out. Rice hulls have many other uses that include rice hull ash, biochar, building material, animal bedding, silicon source for industry, fertilizer component, insulation material, fuel, making beer, filler in cheap pet foods, pillows, biodegradable nursery pots, absorbents, body powders, etc. Conclusion: rice hulls can be a useful soil amendment for many gardeners when used properly. The most common usage is to till them into heavy clays to physically change the soil properties before planting a new garden. This was a common practice before we had good compost available and rice hulls were more easily available. Pros: comparable to perlite in water holding capacity per weight but higher air porosity and no dust as with perlite. Improves soil physical properties. Improves a soil's aggregation, porosity, tilth. Easy to spread. Renewable resource. Feedstock for making compost. Some types can be certified organic. Relatively inexpensive. In the cons list below, there are aspects I want to speak to. Cons. Quality, type, and value varies greatly. In my area, the product is fairly consistent. Low cation exchange capacity, CEC. Work poorly by themselves. This is somewhat true, although I have used well-aged rice hulls by themselves. If they're aged or composted well enough, they can be used as a peat replacement, and parboiled rice hulls can be used as a perlite replacement. In hydro, this combo works well once nutrients have been running for a short period. Nutrient content is insignificant. This is very much true and what makes hulls basically inert and great for hydroponics. Blows in wind if used as a mulch. Availability limited to rice growing areas. Slow to break down. Does not stimulate beneficial microbial activity as compared to other organic amendments. My next video will touch on this lack of microbial activity. I know this to be true, and I've always wanted to increase organics, and that activity, into the containers and hydroponics. I'm going to explore that with biochar, and yes, making biochar out of rice hulls, also referred to as carbonized rice hulls.
Well, that wraps up this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please comment, like, and subscribe. In order to subscribe, all you got to do is click the button here. We'll put a check mark next to it. If you want to get notification the next time I make a video, click on the bell here, check here, and hit save. You guys take care.